be right across that as well. But let's talk a bit more footy. It's 1:07.
I do what I can. I love to go watch my mates play locally, and I'll certainly play local footy when my time at the top level is done.
Well, that was the voice of Collingwood's superstar, Dane Swan, who joined us last week, of course, on the local locker room. We also caught up with EFL legends Fish and Geordie out of the Donvale Football Club. Can I just mention, too, with Donvale, to get some news through during the week. I know they had an extraordinary meeting in trying to get their seniors and reserves up. Their under-19s won the flag last year. So if you're living out in that area around Donvale, this is a pretty proud Division 1 club who's sort of fluctuated Division 1, Division 2 the last few years. But if you're around that area, they are looking for players. You can get in contact with the club. We might give you some details at the end of this show. But it was great to have two legends of the past out there at Donvale during the Local Legends Series. Local footy ornament, Wayne Fuller. That was a good chat last week. He joined us discussing his journey around local footy, of course, getting out to about 60-plus games right across Victoria. And in his own words, even jumping on a plane to see some interstate local footy. That is dedication. And we also had, as we mentioned, Dane Swan and his involvement with Blue Moon Racing, his aspiration of a Group 1 winner, and how he sees the local footy community jumping on board for the ride. But also, as that grab alluded to from Dane, he's very keen to pull the boots on at local level when his days are over playing at Collingwood. I'm more than certain there'll be a number of local footy administrators who would be pretty keen to get their hands on Dane Swan. This week, though, we're going to sort of move forward a little bit. We've been touching on a lot of the rumours around local footy in the last month, but things starting to settle down with the start of March and the season only about a month away. We're going to look at the upcoming Metro Championships, which is a great innovation, of course, which is going to be on March 29. We'll chat with some of the coaches today about the progression that their combined sides are having. We'll also be joined by Jason Neave of Punt Club, who successfully tipped the winner in the Blue Diamond. So we thought the punters may want some more words of wisdom from him. So he will come up a little bit later on. We'll find out the top 3 from the top 10 that will enter the local Locker Room Hall of Fame and be guests of AFL Victoria on the 29th of March out at Visy Park. I couldn't do the show without my co-host from sportsupport.com.au, Ben Charles. Good to see you, Benny. A man all over his local footy.
I love it, Brett. There's no doubt. And thanks. It's great to be here again. And I have to say that it was brought up during the week by several local footy clubs about how do we get Brownlow medalist Dane Swan on our patch of dirt. It was a pretty hot topic.
It certainly was. It was a good chat. I mean, Dane's pretty honest and pretty casual in the way he goes about things. Obviously, he's had a stellar career. We read his resume out last week, but you could certainly see him going back to local footy, couldn't he? His good mate Ben Johnson's going to be playing at Doncaster. Chris Tarrant, there's some talk he may play a little bit of local footy. It wouldn't surprise both of us to maybe see Dane have a kick when his career's over.
Well, he'll definitely have a kick. He's got some mates out at Deer Park as well, which play, and they were formerly at Marby Park. And whenever time permits, he's out there just watching his mates, and just like one of the boys.
Absolutely. And there'll be a few of the AFL guys, I'd imagine, from time to time, when they maybe have a weekend off or they've maybe played on a Friday night, and who do venture out and maybe just sort of blend into the out of there and watch a bit of local footy. Yeah,
there is a couple. I mean, they like to sort of sneak under the radar, I suppose, and go and see their mates. But I think it's encouraging to know that even at the top level, they've still got some grassroots connections.
Actually, I was watching a video during the week, Benny, of Darren Crocker and Andrew Swallow, who went out to Scoresby Footy Club, who I know got battling a little bit at the moment, just with a few things in the Eastern Footy League. And we hope they can get up and running successfully for 2014. But, to have an assistant coach and a captain of an AFL side come out and take your training is fantastic, and I'm sure they're accessible for clubs who want to make inquiries throughout the year, and to have even a guy like Dane Swan come along for a sportsman's night. I know with my club I've been lucky here with some of the SEN connections to have the Ox come down and Scotty Lucas take a session. I mean, these are invaluable for local footy clubs to get their hands on these sort of people from time to time.
Oh, he is. And look, in particular, Dane Swan makes himself very accessible to local clubs. He does a sportsman day or a luncheon or whatever it is to help clubs sort of with some fundraising. And it puts a real buzz around the place. I know Dane personally that he signs as many autographs as he can, and it's a great way for the clubs to make money and just to get everybody involved. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, log on sportsupport.com.au, all the details there about how you might be able to access some of the players and those involved at AFL level. On the Facebook page, which we've been plugging, obviously, been the last few weeks, certainly created a bit of a buzz. The local locker room audience, as we mentioned last week, has got a chance to become a Metro footy selector over the next 3 weeks with the support of AFL Victoria. The local locker room will be compiling the Hall of Fame from the last 15 years. We started with a couple of the leagues last week with their top 10s. This week we're going to feature the WRFL and also the Southern Football League. We'll be playing at the 11:15am time slot. That will be the first game. If you head out to Visy Park on March 29, a little over 200 votes already cast. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a huge response, and I was surprised and I was shocked, and it was great to have such a good response. And I think that just goes to show that local superstars, what they mean to their community, their family, their friends, and if you can just jump on Facebook and like and comment and make sure that they get a vote, there's a chance for your club to actually win $500 worth of cash back vouchers from Sport Support as well.
All right, let's just remind everyone how this is going to work. Obviously, we've been doing it the last few weeks. Can you just let the listeners know how's it all going to work?
Yeah, so the Victorian Metro Championships, they're going to be played at a Visy Park, of course, and this time of format hasn't really been in existence for about 15 years. So every suburban football league's taking part. Southern Footy League will be playing Western Region in the morning, as we sort of discussed. Essendon Districts will be playing the Northern Footy League in the middle, and the main game at 3:15 will be the Eastern Footy League's representative side playing the VAFA combined side. So VAFA, in its history, has had plenty of experience in playing combined footy over the last 50-odd years, and they actually have a big V luncheon that invites all the players from all the corners of Melbourne and come and honour their representatives. So in a totally unsanctioned and unofficial capacity, we've had a bit of fun, and we're going to try and find the best 18 players from the last 15 years, and that's going to be across the 6 Metro competitions, and that's going to create the Locker Room Hall of Fame. So all you need to do is really just get onto Facebook when the shortlist is up there, and it will be up there pretty soon, and you can vote for your top 3. Yeah,
just on that Facebook tile, sportsupport.com.au, that's where the voting occurs. As Ben said, your top 3, and in the comments section, we'll compile the 18 Locker Room Hall of Fame members from right across Metro Footy. The winners we're going to announce the following week. The top 3 will be guests of AFL Victoria at the Metro Champs. As we said, March 29, a day out for all footy fans at Visy Park, and you can join the local Locker Rooms Hall of Fame. So that is good to take a look at. And today, of course, we're going to have a close look at the SFL and the WRFL.
Yeah, so this show, is based on rumours and scuttlebutt, but now as we head into March, we're actually getting a little bit closer to the game. So we thought that we'd get the coaches on from both the Southern Footy League and also the Western Region Footy League. So it'd be great to chat to them. So yeah.
Indeed. Ben Murphy, in fact, is with us from the Southern Football League. He's going to be coaching the team in that early start against the WRFL. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Really good to be on.
Great to have you on. And the SFL, I know, have put together a big squad. It's been trimmed a little as we work towards March 29. Now, I know, as being with a member club of the SFL, this was floated last year, and I think it's received a pretty good unification from all the clubs. So what about the players who have been training and been involved, Ben? How have they sort of adapted and taken to the concept?
Well, I think they've taken to the concept incredibly well. I was a little bit up in the air initially thinking how the players would respond, but I think probably the format, the timing of the year, and the fact that players haven't played in a league for a little bit has really got the adrenaline pumping, and these guys seem to be, really looking forward to the opportunity of representing the SFL, which is great.
So you're suggesting that probably you'll have the best outfit possible that the Southern Footy League's got to offer?
Well, I'm sure there'll be a couple missing, but I reckon most of our key players will be available. Notwithstanding that most clubs have practice matches on the 15th and 22nd of March, so without any mishaps between now and then, I reckon we'll have just about our best outfit. Yeah, I'm hoping to pretty much put a really good side out there.
I imagine the timing, Ben, was quite a hot topic of discussion. In a packed footy calendar, do you play it maybe in a break mid-season, but then you risk maybe not having everyone available because there's injured blokes? At the end of the year, guys maybe are thinking more of the footy trip and having a break and playing cricket. So it seems like this is probably the best slot when you've got everyone reasonably fit and healthy on the eve of the season.
Absolutely. So most blokes are raring to go at the moment. They can't wait to play a game of football. And the reality is, if they weren't playing in an interleague match on the 29th, they'd be playing in a practice match on an inferior ground against opposition. Probably doesn't really get them excited. So the opportunity to play at a great stadium, on a great surface against some of the best players in Victoria, really has been taken well. And I think it's, whoever's organising it, needs to take a lot of credit for the foresight with that.
Ben, you're also coaching East Brighton. We should mention that, who have been a really strong side, the Vampires in the SFL for a number of years. So you're sort of wearing dual hats. How are you coping with that?
It's not too bad. I think it's worked out all right because we're probably going to have a pretty strong representation from our club. So the boys from our club have really, really, really taken to it. It is hard, though, because a number of the players will obviously be coming from St Paul's and some of the other top clubs, and you're sort of trying to work out just how many of your strategies you you let them have, because obviously you've got your coaching philosophies and you have to bring them to Interleague just as I would to East Brighton. So they're probably going to learn a bit more about East Brighton than I'm going to learn about St Paul's or Chelsea Heights or the like, but that's just the way it's going to be. And to be honest, I think we're all in it together. We've got some assistant coaches from all the top clubs and everyone's sort of driving the one direction, which is great.
And we understand, speaking of coaches, that you've crossed paths with the other coach from the other side of the bay. Can you tell us about that?
Brett Jacobs. I met him many years ago. I trained down at Port Colts a couple of times, and then I also bumped into him when both our brothers were at the start of their AFL careers. I think they might have been playing an under-18 grand final against each other, and from then on, I've sort of bumped into him here and there, and I haven't seen him for a long time, but he was a great fella, Brett. So I'm sure, being such a great fella, all those blokes are going to be raring to go to play for him, so it should be good.
We'll chat to Brett in just a moment, who's listening in very keenly, Ben, so don't give too much away here. Just a couple of the younger kids you might be able to mention, because this is the great thing about local footy, who've got, obviously, sometimes a sprinkling of maybe some ex-AFL or VFL guys coming back, and then there's some real established local footballers who have won a lot of medals over the years. We talk about Luke James, Dean Williamson, who are stars, but who are a couple of the real young guns you might be able to mention, who for fans of the SFL who love their footy?
Yeah, well, funny you mentioned Luke James. His cousin Callum Cathcart, who's probably just turned 18, out of the Sandringham Dragons system. He actually caught my eye about halfway through last year's grand final when he tore us apart and got St Paul's over the line, young Callan. But he's only a small little fella, pretty dynamic, great sidestep, and great goal sense. So he's someone to watch. I think he's going to be a real player of the future. We've also got a player from East Brighton, Tate Sabeck, who's a state high jumper and state sprinter. But if he gets a game, he'll be one to watch. He's got a lot of speed and outstanding skills.
Great stuff. Ben, we look forward to 29th of March. It is going to be the early start for those that get out there to Visy Park. We'll be talking a lot more about it, and a chance for people to head along via this show, the AFL Metro Championships. And good luck coaching the Southern boys. Hopefully they can have a bit of success.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Ben Murphy, coach of the SFL combined side. He's opposite number in that game. Brett Jacobs has been keenly listening in. He's going to be coaching the Western Region Football League. Brett, welcome to the show.
No, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Nice to have you on. Obviously, got a little bit of history there with Ben. I mean, that'd be something you'd enjoy as well as coaching your side, just those coaching rivalries and trying to plot the downfall of opposition coaches.
Yeah, well, when I first heard he was the coach, I didn't put two and two together. But once it hit me, I thought, I had met Ben before, and my recollection, he trained really well when he trained with the support, as you mentioned, and he was a ripping fella, so I could see why he got the job with the Southern League. So I'm sure he'll do very well.
And just touching on that, we did touch on some of the younger up-and-comers there for the Southern Footy League, but is there anybody that's caught your eye, I suppose, that you've seen?
Yeah, first night of training, a couple of guys probably in their sort of coming into their mid-20s, Brad Sutcliffe and Matty Ryan from Hoppers Crossing, Brad Sutcliffe from Port Colts. They use the ball exceptionally well, and we're confident that they're going to be really good players for us. And then, guys like Jordan Robbins, who's a young guy from Altona, and he's got a lethal left foot and good goal sense. And Jason Patina, who can play at both ends from Albion. And we're really confident these type of guys that have been sort of coming through the junior system in the league and have stepped into the senior ranks now for a few years. We're really confident they're going to be really good players for us. And we've also, with the Western League, we've given an opportunity for a couple of under-18s. We run a competition, and they're training with their current under-18s, and they're training with the interleague squad, and they're going to be involved right up until match day to give them some experience. So it's really exciting for some of the young guys in our competition.
Geez, that's a fantastic initiative there, and having such a young and enthusiastic group must be encouraging as well. But you're also trickled with a few experienced guys, probably most notably Jason Cloak.
Yeah, and Clokey's first session was outstanding. He hadn't been long off a plane from Thailand, and he sort of really stepped up and showed us that he's going to be a leader for us during this carnival and train the house down. And like you said, he takes the young guys with him. But also, there's Tegan Henderson as well from St Albans, who's had some AFL experience with Richmond, AFL experience with Werribee, and he trained very well and sort of led the way as well. And then you've also got some older guys that have been around the league for a long time, in Tyron Bonnet and Tom Miller, who have probably been really itching for an opportunity like this and hasn't come along, and now this format's come along and they're really, really keen. And fortunately for us, we've got 4 guys that have made the Footscray VFL list who are available at this stage are available. So hopefully, sort of their schedule doesn't conflict with ours, and we can get those guys on the park on the day as well. So that'd be really exciting for us.
We're chatting to Brett Jacobs, coach of the Western Region Football League, taking on the SFL, 11:15am kickoff, March 29, the AFL Metro Championships at Visy Park. A big day of footy with all the Metro leagues featuring. Just maybe the difference, Brett, Southern footy, Western footy. I mean, I don't know how much you've seen of the Southern Footy League. I'm always keen to know, as someone who's heavily invested in one, what the other is like and what the comparison is like between the Metro leagues.
Yeah, but being a bit of a footy nerd, I keep a close eye on all the other leagues, and my brother played a year at St Kilda City, and I've had a few friends play through St Kilda City. So, and in my junior years, I was involved with South Melbourne Districts, who were aligned with the Southern Footy League. So I've got a little bit of knowledge about it. Obviously, being a Bayside suburbs that are involved in the league, they get a lot of windy conditions. So I'd imagine that the you're going to be a highly skilled outfit used to playing in those sort of conditions, and a lot of low scores in that league, so perhaps they're very good defensively. So we've done a little bit of research on it, and as you said, it's hard to sort of dot all the I's and cross all the T's, but we're confident we've done enough research to have a bit of an understanding on how they like to play.
Good on you, Brett.
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be a great game, mate. It's been great chatting, and March 29 should be a great way to kick things off for the championships.
No worries. Thanks for having me on.
Good on you, mate. Brett Jacobs, coach of the Western Region Football League. We're going to take a break here on the local locker room. Going to feature the top 10 from the EDFL and the NFL. We're going to cover off those this week. And also, the first inductees are going to be announced and the 2 winners of the $500 sports support voucher. That is all coming up. And also, Jason Neave will catch up with him with the Punt Club. It is the Wildcats 23, Kings 15. That is live in the NBL. More local footy after this. You can join us too, 9429 1116.
The Run Home with David Schwartz and Mark Allen.
We had a massive week on the run home. You can head to sen.com.au for all the highlights, including Socceroos coach Ange Postecoglou.
I don't think we have any choice, to be honest. It doesn't mean we won't take our strongest team across it. The guys we've got who are in that experience bracket, and no one knows more than me that experience is a massive positive in a World Cup environment. But when you look at all our players who are in that age bracket and that experience bracket, we don't have any of them playing at the top level. And that's what convinced me to say, well, the time for regeneration is now.
We'll catch you on Monday from 4 with Dave Davutovic to wrap up the Melbourne Derby. Plus, Daniel Garb in the UK will preview the Doggies 2014 season and plenty of your calls.
The Run Home for the Hyundai Trophy Series with $2,000 worth of extra features. 4 to 7 weekdays on 1116 SEN, Melbourne's home of sport.
Life's best adventures begin with the right gear, and you can get all the gear you need at Jeep Clothing Stores. Whether it's exploring the great outdoors, heading to the footy or cricket, or spending the weekend with your mates, you can go anywhere, do anything, anytime in Jeep Clothing. Easy fit, comfortable, quality casual wear. Jeep. Clothing for all life's adventures. 12 stores in Melbourne and Geelong. jeeplife.com.au.
It's the best racing you've never seen. Greyhound racing is fast, exciting and a great day out. The town of Horsham comes alive this long weekend with the running of the Horsham Cup on Saturday night. With more than 70 grand in prize money up for grabs, the best dogs in the land will be there. Enjoy the relaxed atmosphere with free kids activities, full TAB facilities and great dining. The Horsham Cup, this Saturday night. Gates open at 5, racing from 6. Greyhound racing. It's the best racing you've never seen. Find out more at grv.org.au.
Hello to life changing all the time.
Hello
Hello, we're Chisholm and Gaiman, and we know you're going to like us.
We're Bayside, a team of proud and passionate property people.
One team,
3 offices,
one community.
We'll keep you informed every step of the way.
And we'll do that with professionalism, pride and passion.
Hello, we're Chisholm and Gaiman.
At home in Blackrock, Elwood and Port Melbourne.
Visit chisholmgaiman.com.au.
Wherever you go, say hello.
Hi, Ian Molly-Meldrum here. I'm a patron of Kids Undercover.
Have you bought a new car, or do you have an old car sitting in your driveway?
Now is the time to donate your old or unwanted car to Kids Undercover.
100% of the proceeds from the sale of your car will go towards preventing youth homelessness. All car donations are now tax deductible, no matter what condition the car is in. It's simple and it's free.
Just visit donateyourcar.org.au or call 1-800-801-633.
It's strength, it's power, it's speed. It's FitX, Australia's biggest sport and fitness expo. Supplements and training, the world's strongest men, powerlifting, pro bodybuilding, CrossFit, MMA, boxing and arm wrestling. Check out the new Super Gym and Wellness Centre. There's CEC courses for industry attendees, plus giveaways and more. Friday, March 7, Saturday, March 8 and Sunday, March 9 at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre. FitX Expo. Be entertained, be inspired, get involved. FitX.com.au.
On 1116 SEN, you're listening to Sunday Sports Central with Brett Phillips.
We've got some money in the kitty. Any tips ahead for the Blue Diamond coming up?
Well, you got to think Earthquake's going to do it. They're in the fastest sectional. And, usually when one horse is faster than all the others, it will win. So that's the science behind my tip, is Earthquake.
Well, that was the voice of Jason Neave with us last week, the Punt Club CEO, and he was on the money, Benny Boy.
Oh, he was. He definitely was. And he was over in Kangaroo Island, and it's good to hear that he's made it back in one piece. Great tipping, Jason. Tell us a little bit about Kangaroo Island, mate.
Yes. Well, it was a bit of a swim through. As you can imagine, the races were called off. So we had nothing else to do but have a crack at the hospitality on offer. So that and the fact that there was probably still about 50 or 60 other races around the country to bet on while we were there. So it was all good fun.
Now, just before you tip us another winner of the slipper, Jace, you run a punters club. It's a website, obviously, that you can get on and you can do your own punt club. The hot topic at the moment is obviously the Bill Vlahos saga, the Edge. What can you tell us about the differences between what's going on?
Well, the whole thing's a bit of a pity apart from, the industry scandal that's happening. But the sad thing is that they're actually still calling that whole caper a punters club because it was a Ponzi scheme, nothing simpler. And it kind of brings every other honest-to-goodness punters club into a bad light because of the furor that's going on.
Sorry, call me Noy. What's a Ponzi scheme, mate? What's that?
Oh, Ponzi scheme, it's an investment scam where they basically use money from new investors to pay imaginary dividends to original investors without actually investing anything. So you might, just call it robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak. But, it's just basically what happened with Bill Vlahos' Punters Club. They just took investment funds from new investors and used that money to pay old investors imaginary returns, and those people were obviously pretty excited, so they kept telling everybody about it, and so the cycle continues until it all collapses. So
yeah, okay,
that's what happened in that case.
Jason, obviously we've been touching on the Punters Club for our local locker room listeners the last few weeks and how they can get involved. We might just re-explain that for those who have just tuned in this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Punters Club Cup is something that we've launched with Sport Support and Blue Moon Racing and Dane Swan and Dale Thomas. So I think you had Swanee on last week, and it's effectively, we're just trying to find the best punters club in the land so people can, get on, have a crack, raise money for their footy trip or whatever it is, and at the same time be in the mix for about 10 grand worth of prizes all that we've got.
Okay, and obviously this is a big thing that can be really driven by the players at the club, but also, accessing their networks outside of the footy club.
Yeah, so look, it's fundamentally, it's a fundraising exercise, and I know people sometimes get a bit outraged when you mention betting and saving in the same sentence, but look, you got to sell a lot of meat trays to save up enough money for your footy trip. So this is just one way where players, put in a little bit each week and they bet some and bank some, and over the course of a season, the average footy club will have sort of 10 to 15 grand left at the end of it, and so we're just, facilitating people to save money for their footy trip, and at the same time, have a crack at some good prizes and have a bit of a laugh and some banter along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way is log on to Sports Support, and this can sort of run right throughout the season?
Yeah, we're going to run it throughout the season, sort of mirroring the AFL footy season. So we'll have a minor round and all the clubs that are in it. Will sort of bet their way up the ladder during the season, and the ones with the best return on their wagering investment at the end of the minor round will make it through the finals. We'll reset their ROI calculation, and they'll have a crack through the final series, and the best two at the end of that period will play off in the granny. So at the end of it, we'll be dishing out a fair bit of coin to one lucky punters club, and probably give their footy trip kitty a good shot in the arm as well.
Great stuff. Jason, people can log on, sportsupport.com.au. Really appreciate you filling in and keep tipping a couple of winners, will you? It's you're going well.
Yeah, well, look, you can't go past the same horse again. Geez, it was impressive. And, I think I had just, in the pace of about 2 strides, just ran away from the crew. I think that was as good a preview as you'll get for the slipper, and I'll be on it again that race.
Great stuff. Jason Neave there from the Punt Club joining us. Of course, for all the details on the 2014 Punters Club, head to www.sportsupport.com.au. Just click the Punter Cup tile, and that'll take you through to the information page. We have the nominees, of course, for the local Locker Room Hall of Fame, Ben, which we've had a great response, haven't we, from both competitions during the week.
Yeah, massive response, really, and Western Region and Southern Footy League, the leagues that are playing against each other, so it seems fitting to sort of have that ready to go this week. Okay,
just fill us in a bit on that because there's obviously many divisions that Sports Support has. There's a $500 Sports Support voucher available for the guy with the most votes for his club of choice. You can head to sportsupport.com.au to see all the areas that we actually cover off within a club, and if your local Locker Room Hall of Fame gets the most votes, we're going to pop down to your local club and simply hand you $500, which is not bad.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll announce those winners in just a moment. But first, we'd like to hear the short list from the EDFL's top 10. And to announce the EDFL's top 10, we're joined by one of the EDFL's media team, Adam Papel. Thanks for joining us, Adam.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we today?
Nice to talk to you, Adam. Let's run through the EDFL and what we're looking at as far as the nominations.
Well, there's 10 of us. 10 of them, obviously. We've got Ricky Marcy, gun on baller from Keilor. Shannon Broadbent, who was stationed a couple of weeks ago. Rabi Houcher, 4-time best and fairest winner with the EDFL. Ex-AFL player Simon Minton Connell. Wayne Carey's nephew, Kay Carey. Gun on baller from a number of leagues, Heath Ayres, who was playing with Maribyrnong Park. Multiple 100-goal forward, Tim Harvey. Gun Keilor midfielder, Lee Fraser. Key position player from Strathmore, Adam Winter. And just rounded off one of the all-time great players of the local EDFL, Dennis Bicer, who's coaching the Interleague team.
Yeah, Rabi Boucher. Now, I remember going into a grand final. It might have been about 2007, 2008. I saw him rack up about 50 possessions in that grand final. He's just an amazing player. Has been for a long time. Yeah,
he just accumulates the ball. He's an inside player. Gets it in the clinches and gets it out to the runners. And he just got a real appetite for the leather.
Simon Minton Connell, you just pricked my ears there, Adam. I mean, I think back to his career and, he had a real purple patch there at one stage, obviously played at a few clubs. He's now looking after the Fitzroy Stars, going down the coaching track. How's he travelling out there?
Well, I mean, so he's down at the Fitzroy Stars, so I think he's doing quite well down there. As a player, I guess the thing about Simon Minton Connell when he come back to the EDFL is, he might have had 7 or 8 kicks, but he'd have 7 or 8 goals. He was just a phenomenal kick for goal at the EDFL competition.
And Dean Bicer, of course, is going to be coaching the EDFL side in the championship. So we hope to be maybe having a chat to him next week. He's a pretty handy player, isn't he, at Greenvale Way? Oh,
he's fantastic. He went back to Greenvale last year after coaching Pascoe Vale for a year, and which is a little bit controversial, but went back to his home club. He's just a phenomenal midfielder who got forward and kicked many goals. So one of the real guns of the EDFL for over 10 years.
Heath Ayres, that was the other one that pricked my ears. Any relation to Gary Ayres?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
no, I don't
just
believe so.
There you go.
So yeah, Heath Ayres. I think he's at Deer Park now. He was from Bundoora, went to Maribyrnong Park in Maribyrnong Park's big, real period of success and was crucial. One of the absolute gun midfielder, and again was able to kick mountains of goals for Maribyrnong Park Footy Club.
And we'd love to have Dean Bicer join us next week as well. I've been trying to get on to Dean, so if Dean's out there listening or anyone is, if they could text in his number, we'd love to get him on next week to find out how he's travelling.
Good on you, Adam. Nice to talk to you. People can vote for your top three in the EDFL. Just head to, of course, sportsupport.com.au, the local locker room Hall of Fame, and all the best for a big season out in the Essendon District Way.
Good on you guys.
Adam Papel. We're going to head north. Sam Zito joins us from the Northern Football League, their media manager. G'day, Sam.
Good afternoon, guys.
Nice to talk to you. The top 10, Sam, for the NFL. Take us through it. There's some pretty decent names.
Yeah, well, it's never easy to shortlist just 10. There's probably 20 or 30 blokes who are unlucky to miss out. But we start in alphabetical order. First off with Blair Harvey, the 5-time premiership player at Heidelberg, 4 times as captain. We've got Northcote Park ruckman from the 2000s era, Brett Jeffrey. Cameron Cloak, who's at Bundoora and has dominated the competition for the best part of 3 years now. Daniel Keenan, who is a 2-time competition best and fairest from Montmorency. Daniel King, another 2-time best and fairest winner from the Epping Football Club. We've got Danny Nolan from Heidelberg, who played in 5 premierships as well. Shane Harvey, who's just been a goal-kicking machine at North Heidelberg. Trevor Wilson from Bundoora, who's been a champion of the Bulls Football Club and captain of their team of the century. We've also added in Joe Ahmed from Northcote Park, and to round out the list, we have Lee Gray from North Heidelberg.
A guest in the local locker room earlier in the episodes, I suppose, was Cameron Cloak. We spoke to him about premierships at Bundoora. He's just been a superstar grand final day. Obviously, you've been out there. What can you tell the listeners about Cameron Cloak and grand finals?
Well, you just talk to people at Bundoora and they say he may well be the most influential player to ever play at the club. In 2011, he had, really for the first half of the game, he was really quiet. He got a yellow card. He was off for 15 minutes, but his final quarter was phenomenal. He kicked 2 goals that day in a low-scoring game, but he took probably 10 marks through half-back to half-forward in the final quarter when Heidelberg was coming back at Bundoora, and he just saved that game. He didn't quite get best on ground, but certainly in the last quarter he saved that game. And then last year, he kicked 3 goals against Montmorency, a big torpedo from 70 metres when the Bulls were well down to get them back in the game. And just his presence last year, becoming the first player to win a premiership, the competition best and fairest, and leading goal kicker all in 1 year.
The name, Sam, Damien Uzo, he's had an interesting journey, of course, in footy, so that's one to certainly keep an eye on. Of course, famous Uzo name, Adam.
One of those really unlucky ones, I think.
Yeah. Adam, who played, of course, with Melbourne, of course, for such a long career. So lots of good names running around. Blair Harvey, Brett Jeffrey, Cameron Cloak, Joe Ahmed, Daniel King, Daniel Nolan, and Shane Harvey, Trevor Robinson, some of the names. Good on you, Sam. We'll keep a close eye on the NFL boys, and good luck for the Metro Championships.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Sam Zito there, the media manager of the NFL. And, of course, a $500 sports support voucher available to each of the winners for their club of choice. And the voting going to run through till next Saturday.
That's right, yeah. It'll run through to 11:59 p.m. next Saturday. So if you've got a player and they're associated to your club, there's a $500 cashback voucher that can be awarded to the winner.
Great stuff, Benny. We've got through a fair bit. Metro Championships, and we were talking a lot about that in the build-up to March 29 at Visy Park. Of course, all 6 leagues are playing that day.
They are. All those 6 leagues will be out there, and now I think we need to name the winners of the top 10 shootout. So we've got with the Southern Footy League. Just very, very quickly, we've got 65 votes were done. With the first inductee is the St Kilda City champion Ezra Poyas. He'll be invited by the AFL Victoria. Also, there was a tight tussle between Heath Barnes and Luke James, but Heath Barnes was successful on that one. So if the club can get in contact with Sports Support, then that'll be fantastic, and we can have a $500 voucher sent their way.
Beautiful stuff, Ben. And as we build up to next week, of course.
Yeah, we build up to next week. We now name the WRFL. So it was some really interesting voting out there. Over 150 votes came from the WRFL. So we can announce that early favourite Michael Frost slotted in a third. In second was the St Albans star Timmy Jenkins. And taking out the honours with a $500 cashback voucher was Spotswood's Lockie McGlee. So if Spotwood can get in contact with us, we'd love to come out there and give you the voucher.
All right, great stuff. Sportsupport.com.au. Log on to the Facebook tile. We'll continue voting, of course. That is the Hall of Fame. Some good players running around local footy, and we're going to see a lot of them on display March 29 at Visy Park for the Metro Championships.
Correct. Thanks, Brad.
Good on you, Ben. We'll talk to you next week for the local locker room. Plenty more to come. This is Sunday Sports Central.